So Starfield looks absolutely amazing, but it will run at only 30 frames per second on Xbox Series consoles. Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about Starfield today. So yesterday's Starfield Direct show was a really good show. It was quite long, around 40 minutes I think, and we've learned quite a lot of new details about Starfield. So by the way, there's some good and some not so good news, I guess. So let's talk about the good news first. I mean, first off, the game looks amazing. The graphics looks really good. It looks like they really upgraded the engine. Looks like that Xbox TGA group kind of helped really big time. So, the game looks really good. There's a ton of details. Some of the locations I did complain about last year. They look much better now. The lighting seem to improved. So that's all great. I mean, the gameplay looks kind of cool because you can play in both first person and third person mode, but also animations actually got better because I'm sure you know that for the most part, a lot of Bethesda games had these stiff animations which didn't really look good in like third person kind of over the shoulder kind of mode. That's not really the case anymore. Starfield looks great in both first person and third person mode. Combat looks great. You've got a jetpack. I mean, how good can that be? It can't get any better, I guess, right? But yeah, so there's a lot of systems, there's a ton of to cover really, and I'll probably make another video about Starfield and all these systems, what I actually love about this game. I mean, judging on the information provided by Bethesda, obviously, I haven't really played the game just yet. But there is a little bit of a not so good news, I would say bad news. So obviously that's performance. So the showing was in 30 frames per second, and later that day, so yesterday, Todd Howard during the interview with IGN did confirm that this game will be locked to 30 frames per second on Xbox Series S and X. So Xbox Series X will offer 4K at 30 frames per second, while Xbox Series S will offer 1440p at 30 frames per second. I don't know whether that's native resolution or whether they use some form of upscaling. I would bet for the later, so probably upscaled, and maybe they use some form of reconstruction, who knows. But it doesn't matter. What really matters is the fact that it will be locked to 30 frames per second, which is a shame because Todd Howard did say that they were able to run this game at 60 frames per second at times. That probably wasn't really a stable 60 frames per second, right? But I mean, who knows? Maybe if they tuned down some of the settings, they would be able to achieve 60 frames per second or close. Performance mode. I don't know, right? But Todd Howard did explain that his vision was to provide as many details on the screen. He really wanted that to pop, if you know what I mean, when it comes to graphics and level of details and everything. I don't really want to discuss whether that's a GPU issue, memory issue, or a CPU issue. It can be anything really. And I understand that Bethesda games, they've got so many systems running at the same time, like tracking all the objects you can pick and everything. And there's a lot of it there. And obviously the world is vast, and you've got different planets. So obviously that may have a substantial load, hit on the CPU, load as well. So that game probably going to be a CPU heavy too. But it would. I'm just a little bit disappointed still that it's not going to be 60 on Xbox Series X. So I'm kind of curious how this game is going to play on PC. So, I've got a decent PC, so hopefully I'll be able to play this game at 60 frames per second anyway. I don't mind lower resolution or some, few less details here and there. So I'm kind of curious if that's going to, help. I've got Intel i5 1200 for 12400, so 6 core 12 thread CPU. So I wonder if this CPU will be able to handle that fine. We will have to wait and see. This game that does require SSD even on PC, so it's probably going to be. It's not going to run on every single PC, that's for sure. I checked the minimum specs. They don't really look that high. So, like looking at the minimum specs, my PC should handle that game no problem. But, that's the thing. That's the thing with PC. You can basically customize your experience to your liking, right? Like I said, I don't mind dropping some settings or number of objects or draw distance just to get that smoother experience. But that's me, right? And unfortunately, Bethesda did say that they didn't really want to compromise on visuals because apparently that's very important for them, and the lighting and stuff. So, well, looks like it is what it is, guys. I'm not really going to be complaining much about it anymore. Like, it is what it is. I guess we just have to live with it. I mean, that's just a new reality for these consoles too. Like that, some games will just run at 30 frames per second, no matter what. So even though we are getting a lot of 60 frames per second games, a lot of games with performance modes, some games will be locked to 30, and there's no going around it when it comes to consoles. I guess the only thing I can say to people that really must have 60 frames per second, well, go PC, right? Like I did, right? I still play on consoles, but games that offer only 30 frames per second consoles, I just switch to PC, right? But there are also times where, like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, that game was so badly optimized for PC that even on PC that game struggled, right? But they will fix it at some point, so it's not going to be that bad. But what I also want to say is that Starfield seems very polished, and that kind of showed during the show. And we kind of know why, I guess, because Bethesda used to have this problem with a lot of bugs and stuff, right? They would release a game buggy with some issues, technical issues for the most part. That looks like that's not really going to be the case anymore. I think same day, Phil Spencer, during an interview with Giant Bomb, I think, he did say that Bethesda did plan to release this game a little bit earlier, so probably last year. But Phil Spencer came to Todd and he said, if you need more time, I can give you extra time to work on this game. So obviously that costs money. Microsoft is a rich company, so they didn't really care. If that was just for the Bethesda, they would probably just release the game to get monetization and get the money. But yeah, looks like Xbox, Phil Spencer, did allow this game to cook for a little bit longer. So hopefully this will translate to just a better experience, like technically speaking, because like gameplay wise, nothing probably is going to change. It's just the fact that thanks to that extra time, they could, they will be able to optimize it better and have less bugs. I'm sure there's going to be some bugs anyway, but hopefully nothing major. And if you really think about how vast the Starfield world is going to be, yeah, there's a lot of things that can potentially go wrong, right? And like different planets, different environments, different, I guess, physics too. Like you've got a different gravity on different planets. You've got no gravity when you're off the planet, right? So that physics is totally different. So it is what it is, guys, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they locked this game to 30 frames per second on consoles. So I did see some comments by John Linneman basically saying that, oh, looks like this game is going to have per object and per weapon and per stuff motion blur, so it should be smooth even for 30 frames per second anyway. And yeah, I guess so, but I know that a lot of people don't care about 60 frames per second that much. It's good that it's good when a game is 60, but they don't really, it's not really a major issue for them to play at 30. And look, at the end of the day, if this game will run pretty smooth on PC, my PC, I'll just play on PC at 60 frames per second, right? Because I've got that option, but some people don't. But anyway, guys, so yeah, either way, it is what it is. You know, looks like this game is so big that it's just like too big to run it at 60. It's just the fact alone that Todd Howard did say that they did test this game and they did try to run it at 60. But yeah, they just decided to go with higher fidelity over the better performance, right? Which is a shame because yeah, we love options. Like even console gamers now these days, like when you talk with console gamers, and like a lot of people actually do care about 60. So by the way, complaining about 30 frames per second is fine. Like even though Bethesda decided to go 30 with this game, it's good to be loud about the fact that we prefer 60, so other developers hear that too. So you know, hopefully that will kind of push them to kind of focus more on performance rather than visuals, I guess. But I know that some people love visuals more than smooth gameplay, but it is what it is. So anyway, guys, so yeah, Starfield still looks amazing, so I can't wait to play it, and I'm sure you too. I've seen a lot of people like super excited about this game, especially now after what has been shown yesterday, and yeah, I can't wait to play it. So guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.